Stop scrolling. Archangel Michael is pleading with you. The demon that controls your money is about to take your last dollar. Open this now to defeat it. Stop scrolling. You are not here by accident. This message has found you because Archangel Michael is pleading with you to listen before it's too late. There is a dark force working silently in your life, a spirit that thrives on fear, doubt, and financial struggle. It has been feeding on your frustration every time you look at your bank account and wonder, why can't I ever get ahead? But Archangel Michael is stepping forward right now, his sword drawn, his voice echoing through the heavens, calling your name. He is saying, "My beloved child, the demon that controls your money is preparing to take your last dollar. But I will not allow it if you hear this message and act today." Do not scroll away. Every second you stay here, the grip of that dark entity weakens. This is not superstition. This is divine intervention. The reason you've been seeing the same numbers, the same signs, the same coincidences around money lately is because heaven has been trying to warn you. You were meant to hear this message. There is a spirit of financial delay that has been shadowing your destiny. It manifests as unexpected bills, job rejections, or sudden losses just when breakthrough feels near. It disguises itself as bad luck, but it is not luck. It is warfare. Archangel Michael has been battling this spirit on your behalf, but he needs your consent. Angels can only intervene when invited by free will. This is that invitation. If you are listening right now, close your eyes for a moment and take a deep breath. Imagine a bright blue flame descending from above, surrounding you in light. That is Michael's divine fire, burning through every chain that has bound your finances. Feel the warmth. Feel the release. You were never meant to live in scarcity. The Creator designed abundance as your birthright. But when dark forces whisper fear, when they make you believe you will always struggle, they block the flow of prosperity. This is the moment to reverse it. Do not skip this message. What you're about to learn in the next parts could transform your financial destiny forever. Stay until the end, because Archangel Michael has a ritual of release that will break the curse completely, but only if you follow through. Before we continue, type Amen 2549 in the comments to declare that you are ready for Michael's protection. Every person who types it strengthens the light in their life. And if your heart feels heavy right now, if you've been facing financial battles you can't explain, this next phrase is for you. Say it aloud. I reject the spirit of lack. I accept divine abundance now. Type Amen 7777 to seal that affirmation. Your life is about to change, but you must not look away. The next part will reveal how this demon found you, and what Michael is commanding you to do to defeat it forever. Zay, your miracle begins now. You have made the right choice by staying. That decision alone has already begun to weaken the dark forces that have been draining your blessings. You see, most people scroll past divine warnings and miss their moment of deliverance. But you, yes, you, were chosen to receive this truth. Archangel Michael has been watching the cycles of lack, struggle, and disappointment repeating in your life, and he knows exactly where it all began. What you are about to learn will shock you, but it will also open your eyes to the real source of your financial bondage. The demon that controls your money did not appear overnight. It entered your life quietly, almost unnoticeably, at a time when your spirit was most vulnerable. It could have been a betrayal, a sudden loss, or even a simple moment of fear that cracked the wall of your spiritual protection. The energy of that fear acted as an open door, and through that door, a spirit of scarcity walked in, one whose sole purpose is to make you believe that abundance is out of reach. This demon does not simply attack your wallet, it attacks your faith. Because when your faith collapses, your energy to manifest blessings collapses too. Archangel Michael wants you to understand something vital. Every financial struggle you faced was not just a random setback. It was a calculated move by that dark force to keep you enslaved in the vibration of worry. Think about it. The unexpected bill that drained your savings, the job you almost got but didn't, the opportunities that slipped away just before success. They were not coincidences. These moments were orchestrated by that demonic frequency to feed on your disappointment and despair. But here is the good news. What was hidden is now being revealed, and what was bound can now be loosed. Michael says that awareness is your first weapon. Once you can see the enemy, you have already begun to defeat it. The demon of poverty thrives in secrecy, hiding behind your own logic, whispering lies like, "Maybe I'm just unlucky," or "Maybe I'm not meant to be wealthy." But those words are not yours. They are the demon's language, disguised as your inner voice. Every time you accept those lies, you feed its power. Every time you speak defeat, you reinforce its hold. That is why Michael has brought you here, to reprogram your mind with divine truth. Do not skip this moment, because what you're hearing now could be the key that unlocks your freedom. Before we move forward, I want you to pause for a brief moment and look inward. Ask yourself, where did I give fear permission to rule? Was it in childhood, when you first saw money cause pain? Was it during a heartbreak, when you felt unworthy of happiness? Or perhaps it was in adulthood, when the stress of survival dimmed your hope? Wherever it began, that is where Michael's sword will strike. Now, take a deep breath. Inhale the light of Archangel Michael. Exhale every vibration of fear. As you do this, imagine his blue flame cutting through invisible cords that tie you to the demon of financial lack. Each breath is a strike. Each exhale is a release. You are not powerless. You are awakening. The spiritual system of this universe responds to those who are awake. And today you are stepping into your awakening. But before you continue, Archangel Michael is asking for your commitment. Not a commitment of money or offering. Heaven is not a marketplace, but a commitment of faith and attention. Stay till the end of this message, because the final part holds the ritual of divine release that will seal your financial destiny once and for all. And while you are here, do not forget to share this message with someone who is struggling. You never know whose life you might save by simply pressing share. Comment your first name below so that Archangel Michael's light can be directed toward you by name. And if you feel this message stirring something deep within you, like a recognition of truth, then hit the like button right now. It is not for vanity. It is an act of agreement, a digital declaration that you are ready for your breakthrough. Michael's energy grows stronger with every person who aligns with this light. He is calling his warriors, people like you, to spread awareness of how these demonic frequencies operate. Poverty is not normal. Financial suffering is not noble. It is a distortion of divine order. You were not placed on this earth to struggle endlessly. You were placed here to create, to build, to flourish, and to bless others. When you rise in abundance, heaven celebrates because your light funds love, generosity, and purpose. The time has come to renounce the contract of lack that was written against you. Yes, there is a spiritual contract, written in unseen energy, declaring that your blessings would be delayed. But right now, by your listening, by your believing, that contract is being burned by the flame of Archangel Michael. Say these words with me. I break every curse of financial struggle over my life. I welcome divine abundance with open arms. Speak it with conviction, because your words carry the power of creation. Type Amen 2549 right now to claim your place under Michael's protection. Each person who types it is symbolically stepping into the circle of light, where no demonic power can steal again. Feel that tingling sensation, that calmness washing over you. It is not your imagination. It is the energy of release. You are aligning with heaven's frequency. And now, Michael instructs one final declaration for this moment. Say it aloud: money will serve me, not enslave me. Wealth will flow to me, not away from me. That is your decree of dominion. Type Amen 9630 to seal it in the spiritual realm. Do not leave now. The next part will reveal something most people never hear: the shocking truth about how demonic systems use emotional trauma to block financial flow. You cannot afford to miss it. Stay with me, because in Part 3, Archangel Michael will expose the hidden code of emotional bondage that the enemy has been using to drain your wealth for years. The truth that's coming next could shatter every limitation you've ever believed in. Stay until the end, because your full breakthrough is closer than you think. Do not look away. Stay here, because this part will open your eyes to the secret the enemy never wanted you to uncover. A demon that controls your money does not only manipulate circumstances, it manipulates emotions. Every time you felt unworthy, ashamed, or afraid of not having enough, that energy became a code, a vibration that the demonic system recognized and exploited. Archangel Michael calls this the code of emotional bondage, and tonight, that code will be exposed. Think back to the first time you truly felt powerless about money. Maybe it was as a child, watching your parents argue about bills. Maybe it was during your adult years, when you worked tirelessly and still couldn't make ends meet. Those moments were not random. They were entries into your emotional database, forming a pattern that repeated itself through your life. Each time the feeling of lack returned, the demon's grip tightened, because it feeds on repetition. The more you relive those emotions, the stronger its claim becomes. But here's the secret that breaks its power: emotions can be rewritten, and energy can be redirected. That is what Archangel Michael wants to do for you today. Emotional bondage is one of the most overlooked prisons of the human spirit. It doesn't need visible chains because it lives inside your heart. You might have even noticed how money slips away right after you feel fear, anxiety, or self-doubt. That is not coincidence. It is a direct energetic response. When your emotional vibration drops, your financial vibration follows. The demon of poverty waits for that moment of weakness, then whispers, "You see, you'll never be free." But Michael says otherwise. He says, "Child of light, you were never meant to carry the vibration of fear. You were designed to radiate power, confidence, and divine worth." Right now, Archangel Michael is asking you to confront that emotional code. Take a deep breath and bring to mind one moment from your past that made you believe money was difficult, dangerous, or evil. Hold it there, not to relive the pain, but to reclaim your power from it. Imagine Michael standing beside you, his armor gleaming with celestial fire. He places his hand on your shoulder and whispers, "Release it." Now, see that old memory dissolving into golden light. Feel the chains falling. You are not bound by your past. You are being rewritten by heaven. Do not skip this moment. Each second you stay here adds strength to your spiritual shield. This message is not just words. It is energy working through sound, frequency, and intention. Even as you listen, angels are realigning your financial destiny. But Michael wants you to take one active step Forgive. Yes, forgiveness is the code-breaker. The demon of poverty thrives in bitterness, resentment, and anger. Every time you refuse to forgive, your heart hardens, and abundance cannot flow through hardened hearts. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is weaponry. When you forgive, you reclaim the energy that was stolen. Say this now: I forgive those who caused me pain. I release them so that I may be released. Feel that lightness. That is your soul beginning to heal. You may not realize it yet, but this act has shifted your vibration higher than it's been in years. Forgiveness reopens the channel through which divine wealth flows. Michael is moving through your space right now. You may sense a warmth on your skin or a tingling on your arms. That is confirmation that your energy is being purified. The chains of lack are breaking, one by one. And as they break, a new frequency is taking their place. A vibration of abundance, alignment, and authority. Heaven calls this the frequency of divine sovereignty, and once you step into it, poverty can no longer coexist with you. Archangel Michael is saying, tell them their tears have been recorded in the book of deliverance. Tell them that every sleepless night, every financial rejection, every moment of fear was seen, and it is now being reversed. You are not forgotten. You are not cursed. You are being prepared for restoration. But to receive it fully, you must align your emotions with your destiny. Stop speaking lack. Stop expecting failure. You cannot manifest freedom while repeating the language of bondage. If you've ever said, I'll never be rich, or money always leaves me, cancel those words now. Take this instead: money comes to me with ease. Abundance flows through me endlessly. That is the language of the free. That is how heaven speaks wealth into existence. And as you speak, type Amen 2549 to affirm that your emotional code is being rewritten by divine fire. Heaven recognizes your name every time you type it. It becomes a record of your agreement. Now, I want you to understand something deeper. Demons cannot create. They can only distort. That means the energy that the demon of poverty has been using against you was originally yours. That was your divine creative power twisted into limitation. But when you reclaim your emotions, you reclaim your energy. And when you reclaim your energy, you reclaim your wealth. The universe does not respond to effort. It responds to energy. That's why people can work endlessly and still remain broke. It's not about how hard you work. It's about what frequency you're working in. So now, Archangel Michael instructs you to declare this truth: I work in divine flow, not struggle. I attract wealth because I am aligned with heaven's design. Say it, and mean it with your whole being. Type Amen 8514 to seal this vibration in your spirit. But there's more. Michael wants to reveal how this demonic system uses emotional triggers, fear, guilt, and even love, to redirect your energy. In the next part, you will learn how these triggers are planted, how they keep you in a loop of financial loss, and how to reverse them permanently. What's coming next is one of the most shocking revelations yet. Knowledge so powerful that once you understand it, you will never fall victim to financial bondage again. Stay till the end. Do not scroll away. Because in part 4, Archangel Michael will expose the secret weapon the demon uses, the emotional anchor, and how you can destroy it with one divine command. And remember, your presence here is not coincidence. You were called to this message. You are chosen to rise above this system. Stay until the end, because your full freedom is near. You've come this far, and that means the demon's control is already slipping. but do not grow comfortable. What Archangel Michael is about to reveal could shake everything you thought you knew about money, energy, and destiny. The dark force that has been holding your finances hostage operates through something far more personal than luck or circumstance. It works through your heart. This secret weapon is called the emotional anchor, and it's how the demon keeps you chained even after you pray, fast, or work harder than ever before. An emotional anchor is an event, memory, or person that binds your spiritual vibration to pain. It is the hidden weight guiding your prosperity down, no matter how high you try to climb. You might feel inspired one day, full of faith and hope, and then suddenly, something inside you whispers, "Remember what happened last time?" That whisper isn't your intuition. It's the anchor being pulled by the demon, tightening the chain around your blessings. Every time you replay that memory, every time you feel the same fear or shame, the anchor sinks deeper into your energy field. Archangel Michael says, "My child, you cannot rise while you are still tethered to pain." The demon of poverty doesn't need to attack your wallet if it can control your emotions. Once it owns your feelings, it controls your frequency. And since money responds to vibration, you unknowingly push abundance away while believing you're chasing it. This is why many people work endlessly but never move forward, because their energy is still anchored to the past. You must face the truth. That anchor was placed intentionally. It may have come through a betrayal, a loss, or a deep emotional wound that made you believe you were unworthy of wealth or success. But tonight, that anchor is about to be severed by the sword of Archangel Michael himself. He is saying, "Release the anchor, and I will carry you higher." Close your eyes for a moment. Breathe slowly. Picture a thick chain extending from your chest into the ground, attached to something buried deep, an old memory, a regret, a wound that still whispers pain. Now see Archangel Michael appear before you, his armor blazing with celestial fire. He lifts his sword, glowing blue with divine light, and with one swift motion, he cuts through the chain. The ground trembles, the chain shatters, and for the first time in years, your energy begins to rise freely. Can you feel it? That rush of warmth, that sudden lightness in your chest. That is the vibration of release. Michael is freeing you from the emotional anchor, but you must affirm your release. Speak this now. I cut all cords to pain, fear, and poverty. I rise above every emotional anchor that has held me down. Say it with conviction. Say it as if heaven itself is listening, because it is. Now type Amen 2549 in the comments to claim this moment of freedom. Each declaration strengthens the bond between your spirit and the light. Michael wants you to know this. Abundance does not flow to the wounded, it flows to the healed. That's why he's calling you not just to pray for money, but to heal the emotions that repel it. Every tear you've cried over finances, every sleepless night spent in worry, they have been recorded in the book of redemption. Heaven has seen it all, and now restoration is being written in your name. Do not skip this. Stay until the end, because in the final parts, Michael will reveal the divine ritual of release, the spiritual key that unlocks your money flow forever. But before we move to that, he's asking you to share this message. Share it right now with someone who's been struggling financially or emotionally. You might think it's just a simple share, but spiritually, it's an act of warfare. When you share light, darkness loses ground. If this message has touched your spirit, if you felt even a spark of truth within it, then hit the like button. It may look like a small action, but in the spiritual world, it's a signal of agreement, a declaration that you choose light over fear. And comment your first name below. Archangel Michael has instructed his angels to read those names and direct protection and healing toward each one. Every name written becomes a point of divine focus, a spark of light in the spiritual battlefield. And now, let's go deeper into what happens when that emotional anchor breaks. You may begin to notice shifts in your reality, unexpected opportunities, debts being resolved, ideas flowing effortlessly. These are not coincidences. They are confirmations that your frequency is changing. As your energy rises, abundance will naturally seek you out. But beware, the demon will not give up easily. It will attempt to remind you of old fears. When it does, speak these words: I am free. I walk in divine flow. ARCHANGEL, what heaven has released. Say them aloud every time the old pain tries to return. Michael is saying, the past is not your prison anymore. It is your proof that you survived. You did not come this far to be defeated by memories. You were chosen to transform them into miracles. You are standing at the threshold of a new reality, one where your spirit governs your finances, not fear. The door to abundance is open, but only the healed can walk through. Type Amen 4195 right now if you're ready to walk through that door. Feel the power that moves through those words. They are your key, your access point to freedom. In the next part, Archangel Michael will reveal how this demon manipulates human emotions using frequencies and attachments that most people can't even detect. These attachments drain your energy subtly, keeping you tired, anxious, and financially blocked. But once you understand how they work, you'll be able to dissolve them instantly. What you'll hear next had been hidden from humanity for centuries. Knowledge that could set you completely free from spiritual and emotional financial bondage. Do not miss what's coming. Stay with me until the very end. Your full deliverance depends on it. The next part holds one of the greatest revelations of your life, one that will not just free your finances but awaken the divine creator within you. Stay tuned, stay believing, and stay connected. Because Archangel Michael's message has only just begun to unfold. You are still here, and that matters. Your very presence proves that you are meant to hear this next truth. The demon that has ruled over your finances does not use physical chains or visible bars. It uses invisible vibrations. Everything in creation moves through frequency, and that includes emotion, thought, and wealth. What Archangel Michael is about to reveal will change the way you see the world forever. The frequencies of deception are the demon's most subtle weapons. They move quietly, without sound, wrapping around your energy like smoke. They convince you that exhaustion is normal, that anxiety is permanent, that chaos is simply a part of life. But these vibrations are not natural to your divine design. They are synthetic frequencies, programmed to drain. When you feel constantly tired, when opportunities vanish the moment you reach for them, when you sense that unseen resistance following you, those are not coincidences. They are the hum of the demonic current working beneath your awareness. Archangel Michael explains it this way: the demon cannot take what belongs to you, but it can distract you until you give it away. These frequencies act like thieves, stealing focus, clarity, and peace. They keep you thinking about survival instead of creation, about fear instead of faith. The more you dwell on lack, the stronger the signal becomes, and the easier it is for these entities to feed. But right now, heaven is amplifying a higher sound, a counter-frequency of divine light, to drive them away. Close your eyes for a moment. Listen beyond the noise around you. There is a rhythm in the silence, a faint hum of energy. That hum is not imagination. It is the pulse of your soul aligning with heaven. Imagine a beam of pure blue light descending through the crown of your head, filling every cell, every thought, every corner of your being. This is Michael's resonance, the sound of truth shattering illusion. Wherever that light moves, the lower frequencies dissolve like mist in sunlight. Feel how the air changes around you. Some people sense warmth, others feel chills. Either way, it means the atmosphere is shifting. You are tuning out of the frequency of deception and into the wavelength of divine abundance. Every doubt, every anxious thought is simply static trying to pull you back to the old signal. But now you know better. You can choose which station you broadcast from. The demon of poverty uses two primary vibrations to maintain control: fear and unworthiness. Fear lowers your frequency instantly. It shuts down intuition and severs your connection to faith. Unworthiness keeps you trapped there, convincing you that you deserve to struggle. Together, they form a loop that repeats endlessly until awareness breaks it. And that awareness is what you are gaining right now. Archangel Michael says, tell them they are transmitters of divine energy. When they remember that, the darkness will lose its hold. You are not a receiver of curses, you are a generator of light. The more you think, speak, and act from love, the stronger your personal vibration becomes, and the weaker the demonic current grows. Every prayer, every word of gratitude, every moment of peace emits a frequency that repels darkness. Do not skip this moment. Stay with it. Your spirit is recalibrating. The energy field around you is expanding, and soon you will notice shifts, unexpected calls, sudden financial ideas, new alignments. These are confirmations that you are resonating differently. The law of vibration ensures that the universe matches whatever signal you send. Today, you are sending abundance, confidence, and authority. Now speak this declaration aloud. I reject all deceptive frequencies. I tune myself to divine truth, divine provision, and divine clarity. Say it again until it feels like power vibrating through your bones. Then type Amen 2549 to anchor this declaration in the physical realm. Heaven honors every written agreement of faith. Michael wants to teach you one more technique to maintain this higher vibration. It is called the sound of renewal. When you feel drained or fearful, place your hand over your heart and hum softly. The sound doesn't matter, the intention does. That hum releases energy from your heart center, lining your body with peace. It confuses demonic frequencies, scattering them instantly. This is why sacred chants and psalms exist across every culture. They are spiritual sound technology designed to keep your energy clear. Now imagine Archangel Michael surrounding you with a circle of 12 golden lights. Each light spins slowly, emitting a tone, a sacred harmony that rebuilds your aura. Within this circle, you are untouchable. No deception can cross this boundary. Every time you enter this mental image, you are stepping into divine resonance, the zone where miracles are natural. Michael says, tell them that faith is not belief without evidence. It is the evidence of higher frequency. When you hold faith, you are literally vibrating above the plane where the demon operates. That is why worry and faith cannot coexist. They are different dimensions entirely. You have the power to choose which one you live in every day. The demon will still attempt to reach you. It may whisper that this is nonsense or that you are dreaming too big. When that voice comes, you not argue. Simply smile and declare, I know who I am. Then feel your heart pulse with blue fire, the mark of Michael's protection. The darkness will retreat because it recognizes authority. Type Amen 6820 now to affirm your authority over every deceptive frequency. Each word you type sends a signal of light across the unseen world, declaring that you are awake, aware, and unstoppable. The night was very still. The air itself seemed to wait. Michael stood before the traveler once more, the great wings folding like quiet light. "You have broken the contract," he said, "but freedom as a rhythm. If you move out of rhythm, the old patterns can find you again. It is time you learn the law of timing." The traveler bowed their head. They had fought through memories, through fear, through the invisible weight of ancestry. But this new lesson felt different, gentler, deeper. "What do you mean by timing?" they asked. Michael's eyes shone with the color of dawn. "Every gift," he said, "is planted with a season. Seeds do not become trees in winter, and even the sun rises only when the world is ready to receive it." The demon of scarcity, Michael explained, had one final trick. When it could no longer bind a person with fear, it rushed them ahead of their appointed moment. It made them impatient. It whispered that everything must happen now, that waiting was failure. And when they acted without alignment, their strength scattered, their confidence faded, and the harvest never formed. "That," Michael said, "is how good souls burn out before their blessings bloom." The traveler remembered every time they had forced an idea, every job they had taken in panic, every door they had kicked open only to find emptiness behind it. They felt tears rise, not of sorrow, but of recognition. "Timing," they said softly, "is faith in motion." Michael nodded. "Faith and listening. The universe speaks through rhythm, the heartbeat, the tide, the seasons. When you align with those rhythms, everything unfolds without struggle." He stretched out his hand, and a great clock appeared in the sky. Its face shimmered with constellations, its hands made of fire and gold. Round the edge, instead of numbers, were words: patience, trust, courage, readiness, gratitude, surrender, joy, service, love, faith, vision, completion. Each word marked a phase of divine timing. "You will pass through each of these," said Michael. "Some seasons are for gathering, some for giving, some for stillness. If you try to rush from one to the next, you disturb the music of creation. But if you learn to listen, everything that is yours will find you effortlessly." The traveler stared at the clock and felt something shift inside them. For the first time, they saw their struggles not as punishments but as preparation. The long waiting, the near misses, the closed doors, they were pauses in the rhythm, rests between the notes of a song too large to hear all at once. Michael drew a circle of light around them. "When impatience comes," he said, "breathe inside this circle. Ask not, when will it come, but who am I becoming while I wait? That question aligns you with heaven's hour." He raised his sword again, not to fight but to carve words into the air. Each letter flamed for a moment before dissolving into sparks. Everything arrives exactly when it can serve love. The traveler repeated the sentence. It felt like medicine. They realized that abundance was not merely about money. It was about timing, resources, opportunities, people, all meeting them at the right moment because their spirit was finally ready to handle them. Michael smiled. "Now write your declaration," he said. "Write it as a promise, not a plea." The traveler spoke clearly. "I move with the rhythm of divine timing. I do not chase, I attract. I do not fear delay. I trust preparation." The air responded, humming with approval. Light rippled through the ground as though the earth itself agreed. "Type Amen 2549 to affirm your trust in divine timing," Michael said. "Every time you acknowledge this law, you strengthen it." A warmth filled the traveler's chest. They felt a calm power replacing the restless drive that had ruled them for years. For the first time, silence did not feel like absence. It felt like alignment. Michael continued, "There is a second declaration to anchor this truth. Speak it. I release the need to control. I act when inspired, and I rest when guided." When they spoke, a new color appeared on the celestial clock, a soft gold that pulsed like a living heart. "That," said Michael, "is the hue of harmony. It means heaven and earth are moving together. Type Amen 7032 to seal your new rhythm in light." The traveler looked around and realized that the desert they had been walking through was blooming. Flowers pushed through sand. Small streams glistened in moonlight. The change was silent but unstoppable. "This is what happens," Michael said, "when you stop pushing against time and start flowing with it. Prosperity is not chased. It blossoms." He stepped closer. "Listen carefully. When you act in divine timing, your effort multiplies. The right door opens at a touch, the right voice calls at the right hour, and even obstacles turn into stepping stones. But if you act from fear, you return to the rhythm of the demon, rushing, doubting, grasping. Remember, abundance is not speed, it is sequence." The traveler nodded, absorbing each word like breath. "Then the secret," they said, "is to stay tuned." "Yes," Michael replied. "To stay tuned to peace, to gratitude, to quiet knowing. Those are the sounds of heaven's clock." They walked together in silence for a while. The wind carried the faint chime of unseen bells, perhaps the ticking of that celestial clock. Michael turned one last time and said, "You are learning to dance with destiny. When you trust the rhythm, the universe keeps the beat." The traveler felt lighter than ever before. They understood now that wealth was not only coins and accounts, it was the freedom to move in harmony with life, to give without fear, to receive without guilt. That was true prosperity. Michael raised his hand in blessing. "Do not measure your journey by what you see today. Measure it by the strength of your peace. If peace is growing, then everything else is aligning." He began to fade into the horizon of light. "Stay awake," he said as his voice softened. "Soon the final revelation will come, the ritual of release. It is not a ceremony of words, but a state of being. When you reach it, nothing that once bound you can ever return." The traveler watched as the angel disappeared, leaving behind a single feather glowing on the sand. They picked it up, feeling its pulse against their palm, the heartbeat of divine timing. They smiled, knowing that their life would never again move by fear's clock. "Stay here. Do not rush to the end. The next part will unfold the final lesson, how to live free, how to give freely, how to keep your energy clear so abundance flows through you and to you, always in rhythm, always in peace." The morning came quietly. A soft silver light stretched across the dunes, and the traveler awoke to the sound of moving water. A river, calm and wide, flowed where the desert had been dry the night before. Its surface shimmered like glass, and within the current, colors shifted, sapphire, gold, and white, as though the sky itself had melted into the stream. Archangel Michael appeared on the opposite bank, the rising sun outlining his figure in fire. "You have learned the rhythm," he said, "and now you must learn the flow. This river is the final lesson, the ritual of release. It is not about words or gestures, but surrender." The traveler approached the edge of the water. "Surrender?" they asked. "I thought I had already given everything." Michael smiled faintly. "You have given effort, intention, and faith. But there is something deeper, control. The need to control is the last thread the old energy uses to hold you. You think that if you release, you will lose, but the truth is the opposite. Only what you release can multiply. The traveler watched the current swirl around stones, bending but never breaking. The river doesn't fight the rocks, they said slowly. It moves around them. Exactly, Michael replied. The river never stops to argue. It keeps flowing, and in time, even the hardest stones become smooth. He stepped onto the water, and it solidified beneath his feet. Come, he said, reaching out his hand. The traveler hesitated, afraid the water would swallow them. But something within whispered, trust it. They stepped forward, and the surface held. Together they stood in the middle of the river, surrounded by light and moving sound. Michael lifted his sword and pointed to the sky. Look, he said. Clouds spiraled open to reveal an enormous mirror made of light, stretching across the heavens. This is your reflection, the energy you have carried since birth. Every fear, every dream, every desire lives within it. The ritual of release begins when you forgive yourself. The traveler felt the words like thunder in their chest. Forgive myself. Yes, said Michael. All your striving, all your mistakes, all your moments of doubt, they were lessons, not failures. You have judged yourself for them, and in the judgment, you created resistance. Let it go. You cannot receive with clenched fists. Open your hands. The traveler raised their palms. Water rose around them, lifting images from the past, moments of regret, anger, lost chances. They floated briefly in the light before dissolving into the current. The traveler exhaled, a sound that felt like centuries leaving their body. Michael's voice softened. Now say this. I release the weight of the past. I forgive myself for what I did not know. I am ready to begin again. The traveler repeated the words, and each syllable shimmered across the water like gold dust. Type Amen 2549, Michael said, to anchor your release in the earth. As the traveler spoke, the river brightened until it seemed to flow from within them. They realized that the river had never been outside. It was their own energy, long trapped by fear, now moving freely again. Michael said, You see now that abundance is not something you chase. It is what flows when you stop resisting. The universe has never been against you. It has only been waiting for your permission to move. They stood together in silence. The wind carried the scent of rain and new beginnings. Birds crossed the sky in flocks, singing as though to celebrate. Michael gestured toward the far horizon, where the river disappeared into light. That is where destiny continues. Every time you act with love, you widen the river. Every time you act with fear, you narrow it. Choose flow over force, always. He extended his hand again. One more declaration remains. Speak it with courage. The traveler closed their eyes and said, I live in the flow of peace. I trust the timing of all things. I give freely, receive openly, and walk without fear. Michael touched the traveler's forehead with the tip of his sword. The contact was gentle, like a spark. Now type Amen 9270, he said. This number seals you in flow, the pattern of giving and receiving without interruption. Light rippled outward, rising into the air like waves of sound. The river expanded, and suddenly, scenes of life appeared upon it. People smiling, debts forgiven, new doors opening, families reunited, laughter echoing across the banks. Each scene reflected the result of release. Michael said, The ritual is complete when gratitude becomes your default state. Gratitude keeps the water clear. Without it, even the river stagnates. So every morning, before you speak of need, speak of thanks. Gratitude is the maintenance of miracles. The traveler nodded, feeling tears of joy trace their cheeks. I understand now, they whispered. To release is to trust that love will carry me further than fear ever could. Michael smiled fully for the first time. And you are ready for the final revelation. You will learn how to sustain this state, how to live in abundance without losing your humility, how to protect your flow when the world grows loud again. That is the last secret. The traveler turned back toward the bank, noticing that the desert had transformed completely. Where there had been emptiness, fields of gold stretched as far as sight could reach. Trees bore fruit of every color. Rivers intertwined like living threads of light. This, Michael said, is not a reward. It is a reflection. When the heart releases, the world rearranges to match it. They walked together to the edge. The traveler looked down at the water and saw their reflection, not tired or afraid, but luminous, steady, and whole. The person who had once crawled through dust was gone. In their place stood a creator, a being of choice and clarity. Michael's voice was quiet now, like the calm after a storm. Do not think the journey ends here. The practice of release is lifelong. Each day will ask you to choose trust again. But you have the tools. You know the rhythm. You know the flow. And soon, in the final part, you will learn how to live from this place permanently, to turn release into creation, and creation into legacy. The wind carried his words like music. The traveler watched as Michael's form shimmered into the horizon, leaving behind a trail of blue fire that curved with the current of the river. The traveler took one last look at the water. They stepped forward, and the current parted around them, gentle and sure, carrying them toward the light. Do not leave now. The final revelation is approaching. Part 9 will unveil the transformation that follows release, the awakening of creative power, the ability to build, to bless, and to sustain. Stay until the end, because the conclusion is not merely an ending, it is the birth of your new life. The river carried the traveler for what felt like both minutes and centuries. They floated without fear, guided by a current that knew exactly where it was going. When the waters finally calmed, the traveler found themselves at the edge of a vast valley. The air shimmered as if the whole world breathed in rhythm. Archangel Michael was already there, waiting beside a mountain of luminous stone. You have learned release, he said. Now you must learn creation. The flow you entered was not an ending but a beginning. Every soul that learns to release must next learn to build, for freedom without purpose fades. The traveler stepped onto the solid ground. Milled. They asked, with what? With what is already within you, said Michael. Faith, imagination, compassion, discipline. These are the bricks of heaven's architecture. When they work together, they create abundance that blesses more than one life. He gestured to the mountain. Embedded in its side were countless flowing shapes, symbols, tools, memories, ideas. Each one, Michael said, is a possibility. You decide which ones to draw out and make real. The demon of lack cannot exist in a life filled with purposeful creation. The traveler looked closely and saw visions inside the stone. A garden, a school, a work of art, acts of kindness, inventions not yet born. Each vision pulsed as if waiting to be chosen. How do I choose? They asked. Michael replied, follow joy. Joy is heaven's compass. What brings light to your heart will bring light to the world. When you act from joy rather than fear, creation multiplies. The traveler reached out and touched one glowing image, a garden blooming in the middle of a city. The stone dissolved, leaving behind a seed of light in their palm. "Plant it," said Michael. "Every vision must be anchored in action." The traveler knelt and pressed the seed into the soil. Instantly, a green shoot broke through the earth. It grew faster than anything natural, branches unfurling, leaves sparkling with dew. Within moments, a tree stood tall, its fruit glistening like small suns. "This," said Michael, "is the proof of creation. One action in alignment with love creates worlds." The travelers stared in awe. It was so simple, they whispered. "I only had to act." Simple. Yes, Michael said, but never easy. The mind doubts, the world distracts, and the old vibration tries to return. Creation requires consistency, the daily choice to stay in the vibration of faith. He handed the traveler a small crystal, clear as morning water. "This is not magic," he said. "It is memory. When doubt comes, hold it and remember this. You built light from nothing." The traveler held the crystal, and it pulsed with the same rhythm as their heartbeat. "So building is how I protect the flow." "Yes," said Michael. "Flow that serves no purpose stagnates. Flow that serves love expands eternally." He pointed to the horizon, where countless other figures were beginning to appear, men, women, children, all glowing faintly. "They are other travelers," he explained. "Some are ahead of you, some behind. The universe is filled with builders of light. Each time one awakens, the collective brightness increases. You are part of a vast architecture of grace." The traveler felt humility and wonder intertwine. They remembered the years of scarcity, the endless worry, the belief that they were alone. Now they saw that they had never been alone. They had simply been asleep to connection. Michael's voice carried through the valley. "Tell them to act with courage, to build something kind, to give something beautiful. Every act of creation weakens the shadow. Every good work sends ripples through time." He looked directly at the traveler. "Do not wait until everything is perfect. Perfection is the excuse fear uses to delay purpose. Begin, even if your hands shake." The traveler nodded and took another seed from the mountain. This one glowed with a softer light, the symbol of a song. They sang quietly, and the air responded, vibrating with new color. The valley began to echo with melodies as other travelers joined, each voice blending into harmony. "This," Michael said, "is legacy, not what you own, but what you awaken in others." He turned his gaze toward the horizon again. "Soon you will return to the world you left. There you must live as the builder, not the beggar. The demon of lack will whisper, but it can only reach those who forget who they are. When you remember, you cannot be touched." The traveler felt the ground beneath. Their feet pulsed with energy. "How do I keep remembering?" they asked. "Gratitude," said Michael simply. "Gratitude is memory in motion. It keeps your heart tuned to creation's frequency. Each thank you is a note in heaven's song." He raised his sword one final time, tracing a symbol of infinity in the air. "Say this," he instructed. "I am a builder of light. I create with love, I share with courage, and I serve with joy." The traveler repeated the words. The symbol of infinity glowed above them, slowly spinning until it dissolved into their chest. "Type Amen 2549, said Michael, to affirm that creation has replaced fear. The traveler felt the valley brighten. Trees, gardens, songs, all the other builders shone more vividly, as if the entire realm responded to that affirmation. Michael continued, "Now, the final sealing remains. Say this: my life is a gift, and I use it to lift others." The traveler spoke it, and light poured outward from them, spreading across the horizon like dawn. "Type Amen 9961, Michael said softly, "to seal your light in purpose." For a moment, silence reigned. The air itself seemed to listen. Then Michael said, "You have done well. But there is one more revelation, the last transformation. You will learn how to live as both human and eternal, how to carry heaven into ordinary days. That is the final part, the blessing of balance." The traveler looked down at their hands, still shining. "Balance? Yes," said Michael. "To walk among the world without losing your glow. To earn and give. To work and rest. To dream and act. All without separation. That is the mastery of light." The mountain behind them began to dissolve into radiant dust, rising into the sky like sparks. "When you understand balance," Michael said, "you will never again fear loss. For what you truly are can never be taken." He began to fade once more, leaving the valley awash in gold. "Prepare yourself," he said. "The final chapter awaits, the return to the world and the revelation of eternal abundance." The traveler watched him vanish and felt a deep calm settle inside. They understood that everything they had learned, the flow, the rhythm, the release, the building, was leading to one final lesson: how to live it all, every day, as a human being radiant with divine memory. They turned back toward the path of light that led home, ready to finish the journey. The traveler stood once more at the threshold between worlds. The valley of gold faded behind them, and ahead lay the familiar landscape of earth, streets, sky, faces, noise. For a moment, fear flickered. Will I lose the light when I go back? But then the feather of Michael's wing, still blowing in their hand, answered softly, pulsing with memory. The light was not something to keep, it was something to be. Michael's voice came from everywhere at once, gentle as wind through leaves. You have crossed the long road of forgetting and remembering. Now you will live among those still asleep. Do not preach, shine. Do not argue, build. Let your peace speak louder than your words. The traveler nodded. How will I know if I am still on the right path? Michael replied, when your actions create peace, you are aligned. When they create fear, you are off course. Correction is simple. Return to gratitude and begin again. The sky brightened. The river, the mountain, the clock of heaven, all became faint echoes, as though folded neatly into the traveler's heart. Round them, ordinary life stirred, the hum of a marketplace, laughter, footsteps. Yet everything glowed subtly, connected by the same rhythm they had learned to hear in the high realm. The traveler realized that nothing had truly changed except perception. The sacred had always been here, hidden in the mundane, waiting for eyes that could see. They breathed in the air of their own world and felt it shimmer like incense. Michael spoke one final time. Remember the balance. Work with joy, rest with trust. Give because giving is abundance. Receive because receiving honors the giver. Let love circulate as freely as breath, and you will never run dry. He paused, and his tone became almost tender. Type Amen 2549 to affirm your light. Each time you remember this number, let it remind you of peace flowing through action. The traveler smiled, whispering the words. A warmth spread outward, subtle but constant. They sensed that countless other travelers across the world were awakening to the same understanding, each adding a note to the great harmony of creation. Michael's last words lingered. This is not farewell. I walk within the choices you make toward goodness. Every moment lived in love is a conversation with the divine. Every act of kindness is a prayer answered. The feather dissolved into a trail of blue fire that spiraled into the traveler's chest. They felt the rhythm settle into their heartbeat, the eternal pulse of faith, patience, and flow. They turned toward the city, the fields, the people, carrying light in their eyes. At the horizon, dawn unfolded. The world breathed again. The traveler whispered, I am here to build, to love, to live. Then, softly, type Amen 8008 to seal the journey of light. And with that final breath, the story ended where it began. Not in fear, but in awakening.